me to take one day at a time. One day at a time.
Susie, voilà un petit mot.
That's all I'm asking from you. Just give me the strength to do every day what I have to do. Because yesterday's gone, sweet Jesus, and tomorrow may never be mine. Lord, for me.
Hello wonderful family, it's that time of the month. Okay, we are live from the Inside Studios and this is the Virtuous Woman, an opportunity for us to learn and unlearn and to share in other people's experiences in order for, with the hope that we will also have the key to their success and for us also to benefit from them. It is the pregnancy diary. It is all over the place. We can hear, we can sense it, we can feel it. It is Father's Day. It is Heroes Day. And so we want to take a bit of today's program to appreciate all fathers. We want to appreciate all fathers. First, the group of people want to appreciate is by all biological fathers. And so, to all our biological fathers, who play or has played an important role in our lives in nurturing us up to where we are today. We say Happy Father's Day. And so I will give this shout out to Mr. Roger James Amafio, who is my biological father. I wish him a happy Father's Day. Also,
Happy Father's Day, papi.
Also, to our loving husbands who are also fathers to our children. They are our head, our heroes, and so we want to wish them all also a happy Father's Day. We don't want to forget our spiritual fathers.
Important.
Because where we are today is because of what they have impacted in us. And so we want to wish all our spiritual fathers a happy Father's Day. We want to let them know that we appreciate them for what they are doing in our lives. Because if you are here today, it's also by their works. It's the month of June. For me and my family in particular, the month of June is a very peculiar month for us. You will understand in the course of the video. 15th of June marked 8 years of us being married, and divinely and coincidentally it matched the same with the couple who are with us as a guest today. They also celebrated they are still celebrating their 7th year of marriage. God is God's doing, God's institution, and so we thought it wise that together with them we will celebrate this anniversary and then give our men the opportunity for them to tell us their own version of their wife's pregnancy diary. And so, without wasting much time, I will introduce our guest to you. The first is my own husband, my better half, my purple, my hero, Mr. Osikeni Georges.
But the purple, why do you say purple?
Don't worry, I'll tell you later. And also joining me from the comfort of their own home, right from the UK, is Mr. and Mrs. MENSAH-YEVU. You are very much welcome to the Virtuous Women's Program.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Mr. and Mrs. Osikeni. God bless you.
God bless you.
Bless you too.
Yeah, we are so much privileged having you, especially for our men to tell us. We know they are not detailed in telling their story, but today, who knows? There will be emotions. We don't know. Let's just wait and see. Let's just wait and see. Yeah, and so we will start with Mr. and Mrs. YEVU. We would like you to tell us a bit about yourself so that for us who don't know you much, we can be updated on who you really are. And so, Mr. and Mrs. YEVU, please, can you tell us a bit about yourself?
Ladies first.
No, you talk.
You've been on the program before, yeah.
Yes,
So I'm here with my lovely wife, the indefatigable Elsie.
Hey, sorry, the English word. I didn't hear the English word.
The indefatigable Elsie.
Hey, I don't understand. I never heard it before. Actually.
I'm just kidding, but it's true. So yeah, my name is Talon. I'm husband to my lovely wife Elsie. I'm in a family where I'm the last born, so a family of 4. I'm the last born. So in a nutshell, I've been in the UK for close to 10 years now, and I work within the financial services industry. So over a period of maybe 6-7 years, I've transitioned from being a lecturer at the university, being a researcher, and now I work in the financial services. And we fellowship together in the same church, So yeah, that's a little bit about me.
Okay. Elsie, do you want to add anything? Maybe in this few weeks, maybe there has been an update. Do you want to tell us anything about yourself?
No update. Thanks.
Wow. We'll give the opportunity to, Mr. Osikeni to also tell us a bit about himself. We know that the Inside Studios, whatever we are seeing here today, he is behind it. And so we want to give him the opportunity to tell us a bit about himself, aside being my better half. You tell us a bit about yourself.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
The name is Osikeni Georges. Where do I start from? I'm a man. I'm sure you can see I'm a man. I'm in my late 30s. A father of 3. Hoping that I could have James Miham and Jeshurun after here. I'm not sure about them, but just a hope. Just a hope. But at least life is good. Being in church, a church person all my life. The most important part is that I stayed actually at the engineering school, and by here I'm into ministry. We pray that God give us grace and empower us to do what we're supposed to do. We set up this so that at least our voice through the gospel could go far, populate heaven as we depopulate hell by the grace of God. Thank you.
Wow, populate heaven and depopulate the hell. Mr. and Mrs. Yevu, we know marriage is said to be an institution made by God. We have, you are celebrating your 7th year. We are celebrating our 8th year. God has done a lot, I believe. So I would like to ask, what are you grateful for in this 7 years of marriage? What are you grateful for?
Right. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Before I start, going into any kind of explanation, I want to wish our dad, Mrs. Stanley, and all our fathers, Mr. and Mrs. Stanley, all of them. I want to wish them happy Father's Day. And it's good to recognize it because they've been father figures for us and to many people. And all of that's out there, happy Father's Day. What are we looking for?
Grateful for what you are grateful for how far God has brought you. Yeah.
Oh, what I'm grateful for, I think the transition from being you first of all you come into this world as a child, you grow to become an adolescent. The different ways in which the human physiology is divided, sort of a child, an adolescent, and an adult. You get to a point where once you settle down with another living soul that God has placed in your hands, more or less, it becomes a thing of being grateful for, because at the end of the day, you realize that God is using the two of you to accomplish what He intends for you to do. And that is quite significant, because when the children come in, you see them develop and grow, and you begin to see in them a certain character and a certain grace to show that they are developing in a way in the manner that God intended it to be. And that is quite fulfilling, because you realize that whatever God blesses us with, it doesn't matter how much it is or where it is or what you have. The intention is for others, so they can see the glory of God through you.
Wow.
Irrespective of what you do. So I think that having come together, having been brought together, we are grateful for the fact that we have pushed each other to a place where we are hitting close to the intended purpose of God for our lives. And I feel that it's quite significant. That gives us purpose and meaning and significance. So our identity in Christ is established because we know ourselves, and we push each other to a point where we recognize that God is using that to be an impact, not only our biological children, but the children and the people that we come across on the people.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is what I said. As we share our stories, we hope that our experience will open the doors of others. As we share it, it will open the doors of others and even ours also. That is why we have set this day aside, to inspire ourselves, to encourage ourselves, to celebrate how far God has brought us. Mr. Sikeni, what are you grateful for?
Oh, thank you. I think for gratitude, very, very grateful. It's like, say, you are born one person, then you have a purpose. When you have a purpose, God even told Adam, He said, "Okay, what I get for you to do, you don't go if you do that solo. So I need to find somebody to help you do it." So grateful to be married, to say that somebody, the mission or the purpose that is in your hand to fulfill, there is somebody to help you to fulfill it. So you are grateful to be married. I tell people it's an honor to be married. There are others who are far beyond our age, of course those are also below us, who still wish to have been married, but they are not married. And I think that to God be the glory that you have the grace to be married, have somebody to help you achieve that which you have to do all by yourself. And there is this local adage, I like it, it's in the infant, it says, that is to say, if it's carried by two, it is not heavy. I mean, with two, we can do more than one can do. The Bible puts in another form, it says, one shall chase 1,000, but two shall chase tens of thousands. So I'm grateful to be married, and it's an honor to have a woman like that. To God be the glory.
Thank you. Grateful to have a woman like that. I know that in the lives of most men, the coming of a woman into their lives has made a great change. Yeah. We cannot go on talking about marriage without knowing what marriage at all is. And so I would like to ask Mr. and Mrs. J, what is marriage? And then before you entered into marriage, I believe that you made lots of readings about marriage. You sat under the counsel of men, great men and women who also counseled you before you entered into marriage. And so you had an expectation before you entered into the marriage, before living it as a reality. So to you, what is marriage? And then your expectation before and living it, is it the same?
Okay, yeah, ladies first, but she's thrown it back, so we'll have
It's
them.
okay.
That's what they say. You take control.
I'm taking control. Marriage, I think from when you look at the concept of marriage, it's you have to look at it from both the academic sense, and you have to look at it from both the philosophical sense, and you have to move it straight into the context of the institute of scripture, you know. So in a nutshell, we are taught to understand that marriage is a union between a man and a woman. You know, I'll stress a man and a woman. That is the context of marriage.
Sure.
But when you go beneath it in terms of, you ask the expectation and the know-how, and the level of attitude and the level of attention that is required to build is quite significant, because at the end of the day, I define marriage in this way. It's a communion between a man and a woman who are matured, independent, to a point where they understand how to live together in order to make it work, as instituted by God, by scripture. And it's not only a communion between a man and a woman, but it's a union between the man's family and the woman's family. And the top said the society within both operates. And it's quite significant, because at the end of the day, when you marry someone, you are marrying their history, you are marrying their feelings, you are marrying everything that defines who they are by virtue of what they think of themselves, where they think they are going, and what they have achieved. And it's quite significant, because this history and background and know-hows and experiences are centered within certain sects of society, the family, you know. So I think that I'm married to my beautiful wife in the context of communion and fellowship. You know, so we are having communion to develop ourselves and to procreate and to fulfill the agenda of God and to fulfill each other's work. But at the same time, the demands of the civil liberties of our world, the Constitution is recognizing a civil union. You know, so when you look at it that way, it makes you understand that you are not just marrying a human being. You know, you are marrying her history, you are married into a family, and everything that she comes with is what you unite together to become.
Wow. Today I wish we are going to talk about only marriage. The men, Mrs. Kelly, I don't know, does Lady Elsie has something to add to it?
No.
Okay, let me ask, what was your expectation, or what expectation did you had, and then living it in reality? Is there a difference, or what all that you knew before you entered is quite the same?
No, the expectation definitely would be the same.
Definitely not.
Because, well, let me personalize it in this way. I have not been married before, right? When you entered into the marriage, the expectation is that, the woman will advance and think about you. The woman will be able to accommodate certain feelings and certain limitations that you have, because everyone has got limitations. Now, once you marry and you live under the same, shelter, you as the father or as the husband, you provide the protection and you make sure everything is at work. But you realize that because the expectation is not met instantly, you don't see the visibility of it within the context of your fellowship and relationship in the context of the house. What happens is that there's a shift in terms of the needs and the demands, And one of the key things is having to develop my understanding to a point where I need to appreciate my wife in the fullness of her context. Sort of, she's not just my wife, she's someone's daughter. She's not just someone's daughter, but she's got her own ambitions and career and goals. Now, how do I fit that into my own purpose? To make sure that, you know, I am not disappointed or put to a place where it becomes a loggerheads. You know, in marriage, we complement each other. There is communion and there's communication, but it goes to another level. Once I get into it, you realize that you need to learn on the job, and it's quite significant. You know? So I thought my expectations going into the marriage were the level of understanding that we have for each other. But going into it, different backgrounds, different expectations, different education, different work experiences, there are attrition, I'll call them attrition, you know, it's not conflict, it's attrition and challenges. But they grow with time as we learn, as we educate ourselves, we will become more commune together as one.
Yeah, wow. Complementing each other, working it out. It is not easy, but we know that with the grace of God, we shall get there. Mr. Sikini.
Yeah, I think
marriage, your expectation before and then living it.
Okay, thanks for the question. I like the way where he came from. I think it's very significant looking at marriage in the context of two people coming together. I'm happy you stress on the fact that it's not a man and a man. Like we have in our age, it's not Steve that God gave to Adam. You know, I mean, anyhow you want to look at it, the Bible stands as true, and there are things that we need to live by. So when we stress on it, I'm very happy that we stress on it. It's a man, the communion between a man and a woman. And in our context of marriage, thank God we are married. Of course, that is what marriage is: the coming together of two people for a purpose, basically for a single purpose. And I'm happy where MENSAH-YEVU came from, because it's for a single purpose, but the woman came with her goal. I mean, sometimes before you marry, they've chosen the school they went to, they have their goals, they have their dreams, and then there you are, you come with your goal, and they're supposed to leave hers and follow yours. Or better still, you leave yours and follow hers, depending upon the context of the home. But I think that the ability to communicate, and say, okay, we are two people, we're supposed to have a single goal, because a house divided against itself cannot stand. So the ability to communicate, we have a bone that all of us lives by. I think that is when a marriage is well fed. But until we're able to come to that place where we have a single goal, where one can comfortably or agreeably leave hers or leave his, so that we can have a single goal, looking at what is important on the street, looking at the mind, the counsel of God for the home, then I think a marriage is better. Of course, I have a lot of expectation when I was getting married. The truth is that if you watch a lot of videos and movies, you realize that of course you watch videos, watch movies, and it's like, wow, if you get married, everything is over. I mean, no work, you know. Depending upon the script that you're acting, they make you see like, okay, you just move from work, you go to the house, your wife has finished cooking, you eat, you sleep. You know, you don't think of children, and when you don't think of children, then they give you another script, you know. So watching all those movies, you have a different thought of what marriage really is. So really, our expectations cannot be met, and the truth is that it can never be met. It's because you are with two people, and then the only thing you need to know is that you're supposed to create peace in your home, to be sure that that peace is able to fertilize or move to the purpose ahead of you. All those movie things we watch were not true. But what is very true for us is that we're able to get together, knowing the purpose for ourselves, then we work towards. So the expectations I had before, I need to put it down, right? And then come to the reality of the bone and know how best to chew the bone to maintain the peaceful home and work along with the purpose, so that we can still please God and still not emasculate our wife or destroy our children. Still please God and still make the home happy for all of us to enjoy.
And so then I will be tempted to ask, if you had to advise a young man who is, or let's say, if you had to advise a young man who is about to get married, what would you tell him?
Thank you. It's a bone to look at. I mean, when somebody says, I'm going to get married, they already have an expectation what they are looking out for, right? But don't raise your expectation. Don't raise your expectation. Understand that the one you're going to marry is definitely not like you. I think I read a book by Bishop Jakes that says, whatever is wrong with your spouse, the same one is wrong with you. right? So even he may not be right like you, but there's something wrong with you somewhere as it is wrong with them. And there is no perfect human being. So the most important part is, okay, mellow down your expectation, keep your expectation very low. Think of it in one way. This is what I think now. Marriage is work and it is a school. Understand that it is work that you work forever, not looking for it to be paid, right? And then understand that it's a school that you will keep learning without graduating. If you have these two things in mind, I'm sure you can maintain a home. Thank you.
Okay, Lady Elsie, I will let you talk this time. If you are to advise a young lady who is trying or preparing to get married, what will be your advice to her?
So thank you for the question. I think it's important that we let our young ones understand that marriage is not all that we see in the movies, like Mr. Sikini was saying. You see all the, it's not all about the matching outfits that you make. There is a lot of work behind. You need to know the behind the scenes. It's not just. I remember when I was younger, when people get married, so that they start to glow, and then you see them matching outfits, and it's so nice. And oh God, when am I going to get married and all that? Yeah, that is there. You have to do that. Like it has to happen, but then we need to know marriage is not all about what we see outside. The most of the work is behind the scenes. You don't usually couple nicely dressed out, going out, oh honey, oh baby, and everything. It's true. There must be that. You have to do that when you're outside. But then know that the work is not just what you see outside, but behind the scenes, what happened. You have to be committed. You have to be selfless. You have to be. You have to compromise. A lot of things you have to compromise. You have to learn to forgive. Learn to say sorry all the time. Learn to forgive all the time. It's not just when you feel like forgiving. So you have to learn to.
Of course.
The work is behind the scenes. That's the behind the scenes is the marriage, not what we see outside. So it's important that the young ones know that.
Wow, thank you so much. Young ladies, you are hearing it too. We have not been in this for a very long time. It's as if it's only 3 days, but we have a lot to say about it. And so let's take our time, make the right decision, make informed decisions, know who you are getting married to. And I think one of the most important thing is that if you are preparing to, especially as a lady, know who the source, your partner's source is. If it happens that things are getting out of hand or you are having challenges, who is that person you can talk to that will make him understand what you want to say? Like, does this partner has God centered? Is God his father? One thing I'm learning, I think, for some time is that if I'm facing challenges that I don't know what to do, I say, okay, the only person I can talk to is God, because it is God who can talk to him. So it is very, very important that it is Christ-centered. Wow. I have some comments here on Facebook. Let me go and see our family, what our families are writing to us. I know they are so much excited, the same as we are also. We have Lady Judith saying that she's ready. Yes, she's ready to hear from us. We are on the pregnancy diary. We have Lady Judith saying that Happy Father's Day. Yes, we are wishing all our fathers Happy Father's Day. Lady Jasmine Amafio is also saying Happy Father's Day to Mr. Yevu and Mr. Georges.
Thank you.
We have Matando saying thank you, my son in love. Judith is saying we love these two couples so much. We also love you, Judith. We love you so much. We have Evelyn Ofosu Amoakun saying Happy Father's Day to Mr. MENSAH-YEVU and Mr. Georges. Judith is saying my doctor is speaking. Wow. It goes to Dr. Yevu. Yeah. She's trying to tease Elsie here. She says, see how Elsie is watching the husband. Much love. Matando is saying your expectation must come down. Marriage is work. Wow. And Beninfon Nekasano. Over 30 years of marriage, he said we should bring down our expectation because marriage is work. Wow. We want to give the opportunity. Oh, okay. We have some comments also from YouTube. We have Maggie Nutasi giving us some love. We give you some love back there. We have Daddy Tando saying a father is not only one who has a child, but a father is the one who cares about children. It is not enough to produce or to give the seed, but it has much work. Daddy Tando is still saying, still waiting for their pregnancy stuff. Oh, okay, please.
I hope MENSAH-YEVU heard
I
that.
don't want to waste my time.
I hope MENSAH-YEVU heard that.
I don't want to waste my time.
Bring the expectation down.
That's a good one then.
I agree with Mr. Jebu, Daddy, don't raise your expectation. Because one thing I know about men is with emotions, you'll be disappointed. Anyway, let's see. So then we will go right into Mr. Sikeni. What were your expectations? How expectant were you when you got married? As in your journey through to pregnancy. How expectant were you? How eager were you to start everything? You know what I mean?
No.
You don't know what I mean? I want to know how expectant were you in producing? Did you wanted to wait for like let me quote Judith. I wanted to wait like a 1 year.
Yeah.
Did you wanted to wait
Yeah.
a year or two? Did you wanted to wait?
Thank you. Sincerely not. I didn't want to wait. I always tell people who say they want to wait. It's okay if you want to wait, but I always tell them don't try to wait. I mean, it's sometimes I think they say it, but they don't actually mean it, so that they can get off the pressure of their head. But I don't think it's to say you want to wait. You sincerely want to wait. I don't think it's advisable either. But I didn't want to wait. I personally didn't want to wait. I wanted to have children early as possible. The most interesting part is that far before I got married, maybe like 10 years before I got married, I always said that when I get married, 1 year I'm having dedication.
Wow.
I always said this, like over 10 years before. I think before I came to Italy. So for me, it was like ready to,
Produce.
produce. See, good on produce. That's the right way. I wanted it quick, and I think it's worth it to me. The only thing that didn't make my dream come to pass was Mr. and Mrs. Yevu. They didn't make my dream come to pass because 1 year when I was supposed to have our dedication was when they were getting married. So I have to postpone my dedication just because of them. If not, 1 year I would have had my dedication.
Oh, it's a family thing. We just have to adjust everything.
You see,
So, Mr. and Mrs. Jevu or Mr. Jevu, this is for you. How expectant were you in starting everything?
Listen, for my expectation, I think I moderated it with a bit of planning, because when we got married, I finished my research studies, I was just come to the UK. So my foundation was, in order to establish the family on a firm footing, financially, and then we have to be connected emotionally and mature ourselves to a point where we are ready to go through that emotional roller coaster of pregnancy. Even before then, is it possible to conceive or not? We had that conversation several times. And I have to be circumspect and I have to moderate it to plan to say that we are marrying this year, but we give ourselves a certain period of time, so that let's make sure we are financially sound and stable. Because as the father or as the husband and the head of the family, my intention is to secure our future now and then towards the future. So in terms of the expectation, I said that, Peter, let's wait for a bit, get a full-time job, right? Start earning a living and having some kind of financial backing. That was significant for me. I needed that sort of mental peace of mind. Yeah. So the other thing was, both of us started working. We started saving some money, and it was all part of the plan. So it's every couple and every individual is different. We went out last time and we were talking about the fact that we see issues of life on our own lens.
Of course.
Based on your experience and what you have been, who you have spoken to and what you have read. And as a result of that, you realize that it was good to plan so that by the time the kids are coming, even if one of us is out of a job, there is a certain financial basis to support the kids into the future. And it's quite significant. This should inform our position in terms of when do we have the child, when do we not have it. Even though we know that it's not that actually give the child. But it is within our purview as human beings, as Christians in particular, to sit and plan. Because you can't tell a couple who are, we just got married, and the husband may not be having a very stable job, the wife, God can provide, but I think God will not do for man what man must do for himself. You have to think, you have to plan, you have to put things on paper. If you don't do that, you have a child. Instead of the child being a blessing, it may become a burden. So at the end of the day, my planning and my expectation was moderated by planning and things into the future.
Okay. And so let me say, when it finally happened, how was the feeling like? How did you feel?
When you took a seat? I can remember, I think, what did you say that when we get pregnant? I'm trying to remember. I think, where were we precisely? You were here. I see, I now remember. See, I usually tell people, when you are feminized, your motivation and what you remember is different from when you are masculine, right? So basically, I'm a quadrant thinker and I put things in boxes. So when I get the first one, then I can enter the boxes here. If not, I may not remember the rest, but I remember now, so thank you. I think we're in the house when we, I think the days has passed for us to expect the flow, then the flow has not come, so we went for the kit, then the kit told us that she was pregnant. One, I was very happy, of course, but me masculine, of course she will say, you are not emotional. But I don't think men are supposed to be emotional.
Wait. Elsie is looking at Mr. Jevu. Okay, it's the same. Let's go on.
See, thank God you're pregnant. Of course, to me, I was happy that finally. Don't forget, I told that before. I've been praying for years that 1 year time I will have a seed. I always prayed like that. So to see that she was pregnant, I was very happy. But just that not expressive because so donna. So it was okay. I think what made the day very special was when the child was born. I mean, actually, when we went to go watch that he was a boy, and having prayed for over 10 years that I wanted a boy as my firstborn, that was a real joy. That was a real joy. Like the dream and the vision come to pass. That made me very happy. And then finally when he was born, I mean, that was very special. And that I think I really got fulfilled. Having like believing God for something and then seeing it happen. I mean, that was joy, a great joy for me.
Mr. Jevu, please, when it finally happened, how was your feeling? What was going on in your mind?
I think I was very elated. I was very happy. The recognition that number one, I'm going to be a father, and then the circumstances surrounding the revelation of the fact that we're going to have a child was quite unique. So that's why if you want to go to Italy now, I want to give it.
I hope that I don't heard that one.
Oh my God!
Yeah, I was very happy. And then I think. We've been having a conversation with my wife, the possibility can we conceive, and a lot of things are in the background. But when we traveled to Italy for one of our holidays, and then she did the test in the bathroom. I think she's missed the period for a few days, and then we checked in Italy. In Daddy's bathroom, I was in Andy's room. And she showed me, so it was a time of joy. It was a time of, having come to that point to see that, God has been able to believe in me enough to entrust me with this life.
Sure.
So my wife was very excited, very elated. And usually I have to a little bit of rational intellectualism there, calm down a bit. It's good news, but reflect and enjoy.
That is the way they want to
Let
put
them
it.
think.
So we'll take it like that. It's okay.
But it is a reality.
It's okay.
You have to put a bit of oversight and supervision there, kakra. But yeah, it was.
Yeah.
So I think I was very, very happy. But then, George said, we need to put a lot of things in perspective. God has entrusted you with life, and if you look at it in this way, God has been able to trust me enough to allow my wife to conceive.
Sure.
Such that I'm going to be a caretaker, like Daddy said in the comments, caretaker of this life that is coming out there. So you are excited and at the same time terrified to a point where can I do it? But still he has wanted you to allow your wife to be pregnant. The same will be able to provide you with what you need to be able to raise the child the way you intended.
Wow.
Of course.
That was quite good for us to be able to, think about it and experience it in that way. Yeah.
Wow. And so during the pregnancy period of Lady Elsie, what were some of the things that you liked about her being pregnant? And some of the behaviors you think it was so, why is she behaving like this? Why? Behaviors that it was a bit difficult for you to take. What you liked and what you didn't like about her pregnancy?
During the pregnancy, I think what helped me to more or less accommodate some of them, I think usually sleeping at night, waking up because of pain. And one of the things I liked the most was when the child started moving, Elsie would pick my hand and put my hand on the tummy. Like, oh, he's moving, oh, she's moving here and there. So that was quite unique, an experience that I've not had that before. But I would say this, I worked as a pharmacist for a long time in the hospital, and I've seen a lot of deliveries. But this was particularly significant for me because I was both emotionally attached and spiritually connected, And one of the things that I thought was very, very useful for me as an individual to grow was to be able to more or less identify her pain. And sometimes it's difficult. There is no way to express what she's feeling.
Definitely.
And then sometimes, it's painful. I don't know what to do. And you are there. I throw away what I've learned from the School of Pharmacy. I've thrown away all the experience I've seen in the hospital. I think I was doing a report. I've seen 23 women give birth, live birth in hospital when I was working. But then this particular one was quite different. So I knew what to say to a pregnant woman who is going through pain. I knew the medication to give them. But when she's going through some of them, I realized that it is time to put all those things aside and just listen. Be a support system for her in ways where then you are there to listen, you are there to give her a helping hand and all that. And I thought it was quite significant because I just didn't understand what was going on, even though I thought I knew. The interpretation of it from my end as a man is totally different. Different
life and living it.
It was a bit of an experience, but we managed it quite well.
What did you not like?
What did I not like? I think at some point I tend to thank God that I'm quite long suffering, and before I can get angry, you have to stretch me to your limits, before you can make me angry. But sometimes, because she's pregnant, the way she speaks sometimes, it can break you. Because of the child, because of what she's going through, the child is pulling her this way, her hormones are telling her that way, her womb is being stretched. When you think about it very physiologically, your womb is this size, and then the child is beginning to grow, expanding the muscles of your womb, closing your pelvic girdle and pushing your intestines and everything up.
Hey.
So it's quite an experience.
Hey, don't worry, he's a doctor, so you can permit him to be using his terms.
Yeah, so because of that, the reaction to issues, something that is very small, it's quite voluminous, exactly. So I have to sit back and think, oh, why? But once I begin to reflect and rationalize, the baby, things are not moving as natural, as it were, then sometimes, you relax and then give a bit of a breather. And even during the time she's pregnant, it was some of the time that we had some lovely experience, and it was really good.
Mr. Sikeni, what did you like about my pregnancy and some of the things that you found awkward?
Should I say everything or should I say?
Hey.
Anyway, but the truth matter is that you are happy. Of course, you are very happy that your wife is pregnant. Like Mr. Evu used the word, if you can't annul and that you too, God find a way to give you somebody to take care of. It's His in your hand. That means you are trustworthy. I mean, from divine perspective. So I was very happy. It was unique for me to know that finally my wife is pregnant. I enjoyed every bit of the way. One of the things that I think I liked very much was when you was at an office in Italy here where you were supposed to join a queue. The queue was very long. Then they said, because my wife is pregnant, we should pass. We should just, the next person, when they leave, we should enter. I'm like, I wish we could get pregnant every year. I mean, so that we can always get a new papa, just like that. Those are things that you enjoy when you get pregnant. So, you really enjoy those ones when your wife is pregnant. I mean, a lot of things that we enjoy. I think in the home, the commonest one was when we are on the street, and then I have a data will say, "Oh, your wife." Thank God is watching me. I mean, those are compliments you love to see and hear, and it gives you a lot of joy. I mean, they're not coming to mind anyway. If I remember
some of the things that were awkward to you during pregnancy.
Awkward. That I didn't like. Maybe not awkward per se, but I didn't like. Let me see. I think there is something that is maybe not good for every man, but it's normal in homes. When your wife is pregnant, you have to sleep on half of the bed, like sleep on one side of the bed. And you see, I can sleep any part of the bed, but I am not that man. I say the man should be on the right, the woman should be on the left. But when they are pregnant, you almost have a specific position. And you don't debate with them, right? You don't debate. You almost don't tell them your feelings because you don't want to hurt her and hurt the baby. So even if you're angry, you swallow your anger, you put some water, drink up on it, allow it to flash it down. Those are things that you need to, and we do enjoy because you don't want to hurt her and hurt the baby. I mean, that is one thing I can't forget. I think on the other side, maybe I don't know whether I can say this. I don't know how many people are watching me. God give me grace. It's you maybe it's night and then you want to go to Jericho, you want to have a firm worship, and then you can't do it because
no comments. Wow. Okay, I think they remember much. They are doing very well. They have details also. What is particular about that sleeping is that I don't want to sleep like the normal. I want to sleep like that.
That's the truth. She doesn't sleep on the bed normal size. She wants to sleep in the middle of the bed like this. So I'm like, okay. I mean, what can I say? The madam wants it, so.
Wow. There's one particular thing. Okay, let's talk about delivery. It makes. We all have, we have heard and seen so many men in delivery rooms where they collapse or they cannot bear the pain their wives are going through. But let's talk a bit about delivery. How was delivery for you at the labor ward?
For me? I think for Gabriel, the firstborn, what was it delivered? Polyambulance. See, I think we left here. It was on, actually my wife, it was on, I think Saturday that we have the water broken. Of course, but because inexperience, we thought that it had to be broken full, And then we didn't know, so we went to church, even though the water was broken a little bit, just a little bit. So it's okay, let's go to church. Afterwards, we go to the hospital. Then we went to church, we were in church, and then once we were in church, we talked with Michael. Michael, do if you are there, salute to sir. We told Michael. But then we didn't have the car. So we said, Michael, after the service, please take us to the hospital. We actually went to do our stuffs. But after we left the church, we were coming home, my wife said, God forgive. She said she wants to come and eat. I'm like, we're supposed to go to the hospital. What do you mean you're supposed to go and eat? Okay, so we told Michael brought us home instead of taking us to the hospital so that my wife can come and eat. So we came to the house and then she ate. She said she wanted to, now she want to eat only by sleep a little bit. I said, okay, yes, madam. You know, we don't have to debate with them. We don't have to. I mean, if you're hungry, you just say, for peace, right? So we came home, she ate, she slept a little bit. Then afterwards, we called father-in-law, right? Then he took us to the hospital. When we went to the hospital on Sunday, let me see the time. Around the same time, I think. Around the same time, we went to the hospital. And then when we got to the hospital, they checked on her. Then they said, the water has broken for some days, so she need to be led to the theater to do the stuff that's supposed to be. I'm like, okay, I have no idea. So they took them there. Then they said there's no contraction, right? So they have to put some machine on you. Induced, that's the right term. I'm not MENSAH-YEVU, she has the terminology, I don't have the terminology. So she was induced, so they put the machine on her, then we stayed there for a couple of hours. But let me say this, what I liked very much there was when we were the only ones there from like 7 or 8 in the evening. And then there was nobody in the room, so we were the only ones in the room. And then the machine was on her, so what can we do? We talk, we got tired, so we started singing. One of the things that I love is singing. Naturally, I love to sing, so to sing with my wife is one of the finest experiences I ever had. I never told her, but I really liked it because we were alone. Nobody would call, nobody would disturb, so we just sing and sing and sing and sing. Of course, we have no idea what was coming, so we just sing and thank God, at least we are. And I think that is something I can't forget. We sang, I think, for hours. Hours, we were in tears, not tears of fear, no, but tears of joy. Like, you are singing, you are in the mood of worship and you are happy. We sang till past 12, I think. They keep checking how much has been opened.
Dilated I was,
Dilated, okay. So then they saw that it has opened fully enough, I think like 10 out of...
Like 7.
7 out of 10, right? So then they said now she can then deliver, so they made her to push, and I was there sincerely, I was there watching.
Scary?
I wasn't scary. I think I have a lot of sermons in my life that I ever had watching my wife deliver. Especially my last baby. There's something I learned from the woman. She said, as the child's head has already come out, you don't have to push. You only have to respire. It's something I have a whole sermon on that. And I was happy just to watch her deliver. And then finally, my dream boy was in my hand. You can just imagine how I was. I was so happy. I called everybody in Brescia.
From the labor room.
I called everybody that I needed to call. Sincerely. And I was happy. I think that was it.
Wow. Wow. MENSAH-YEVU, what has been your experience on labor? So you held your baby in your arms.
Yeah. For us, we had quite a different experience in that we were going for antenatal care. And then because the child was determined not to be growing significantly at some point. What doctors realized was, I think it's a placenta clinic. Every other week, every other 2 weeks, we go. They scan the length of the child, whether the child is growing properly, everything's normal and all that. So when we went for the last one that we went, they said that, they just observed that the growth has tilted a bit. So they need to, Elsie must come into the hospital. There's supposed to be a process of induction where the child will be, forced labor, more or less. So what happened was that we came to the hospital and tried to be with her, support her. It was quite a painful time, especially when she went through labor for more than 24 hours. Very, very painful. And then the intention is she's going through a lot of pain, and the ward in the room with her. Sometimes you want to encourage her. And one of the things that help ease the pain a bit was we talk about physiologically what is happening to her body. Like I think Lucy said, the cervix is getting dilated, so it's pushing against your natural muscles. Sometimes when you think about it that way, it helps to shift your mind away from the pain a bit, So, and also because she has a health professional background, and I worked in the hospital a lot, so that conversation helped. And sometimes we'll be talking, this nurse is crap, this one is this. The conversation, move and shift the attention a little bit away from the pain. And when it was time for her to deliver, went into the ward, I mean, we had a pre-birth plan, besides the name of the babies. You have to give the woman the opportunity to, in this way,
Okay.
be the authority, So more or less decide on the name, and the significance of it. And when the baby comes, I'm going to cut the umbilical cord, signifying, that level of preparation and then attachment as well. And I thought that when fully dilated, she began to push. I mean, one of the good experiences I had there was I felt a part and parcel of the process because I was holding the gas for her, gas and air. And then I also helped determine the kind of medication she was going to have because it was quite painful and she couldn't make some decisions on her own. The doctors would come and ask, oh, they've already given her fentanyl, they've already given her this particular. So, okay, wow, that's good. So that you don't come and overdose my wife, Mr. Doctor, consult me, the husband. So I was in the room with her, I was holding her hand and she was pushing. It was quite painful, loads of blood and all that. And then I think one of the experiences that I've always remained with us is, I was holding her hands and she was pushing. And one hand holding her, the gas was on her face and she was pushing. You can see the child coming, the doctors were there. And she nearly broke my hand. This small hand. I can't keep she was pushing, so, and I think one of the things that made the pain, we are able to accommodate the pain of death, if as a result of what happened in the Garden of Eden, God said, as a woman, in childbirth, you go through pain. So she held my hand, she was on the gas and she was pushing. And there was always, in the name of Jesus, help me, Jesus. It was quite unique. So help me, Jesus, through the pain. Thank you, God, for seeing the child.
Yeah.
So that was the transition that we went through as a couple. And I thought it was very unique. When we had Sinead, she was small. Sinead was very tiny baby, very tiny. And I remember that we pre-planned everything. Like I said, I usually like to put everything on paper. So we are buying this clothes, this dress, these shoes, this stuff, Moses basket, putting everything together before the child arrives. But what we realized was that because she was a tiny baby, 2.121 grams.
Wow.
That was big when she was born. Very, very small. When they put the breast on, she was lost in the breast.
Let's see.
Quickly, I have to go to mother care, get a few things. Once there, I called us, this size, what would it be? She gave me the direction. I got there, quickly brought them back, and it was a good experience. And one of the things I remember quite well was, initially she couldn't feed on the breast, have breast milk, and I was thinking, usually when the babies come, within my experience, when you start crying, you get in some iron oxygen into your lungs. Your natural thing is to go to the breast and start feeding, but she didn't want to feed, So I was really wondering what was happening. But at the end of the day, it was Sinead's experience of how she accommodated to her mom, and how she started having formula. She had formula in breast milk, and then from there, I didn't want them to take formula. I wanted them to be on breast milk, solid. So that was the experience, and I thought it helped put us in a place where we're a bit more okay and comfortable heading into our second birth. And I think one of the last things I did was when she gave birth, I called Daddy, and I was like, she's a very strong woman, very, very strong woman. But when she was pushing, you could see the pain. We were all there, but she was still in the pain. And then she has to be cut a little bit before the child comes. And it was so much blood. I remember when Sinead was taken out, the blood spread onto the midwife's, apron. It was quite a lot. I wasn't too alarmed because I knew, the umbilical cord, in the sack and all that. But then the environment alone, so much blood, but still she was there, conscious. I was so grateful. So I called her and I told her, the girl, she's strong. One man, I nearly had DOP on my hand, but we thank God that both hands are safe.
It's safe.
Wow, let's see some comments from Facebook. We have Martando saying, a boy because the house is full of women cried. God did it. Of course, mommy. Of course, mommy, one of my joy was also to give my daddy a boy because we were all girls. So I was so much happy that we had a boy for him. Wow. Aurelia says, say it all. Don't leave anything. Yeah, Matando says that this is one real practical, of course. Mr. Sikene, we didn't go to science school.
When I did that,
Okay.
I catch
You
it.
need to explain. We didn't go to science school. We have Ma Benedicta saying, hello, Zia Nonna. Yes, my Zia Nonna. I'm proud of you guys. We are proud of you too, Mommy. God, good to hear your experiences. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Mommy. We have Asantua saying, you make marriage so beautiful. Bless you. Thank you, Lady Asantua. May it be your portion also. May it be your portion. We have Judith saying, we are strong. Of course, I know she's referring to women. Women are strong. Women are strong. Evelyn Amakofu says, sister, you do all. Yes. Let's go to YouTube. Daddy Kando is saying, oh yeah, Elsie understands the Italy strategy very well. Elsie, Daddy is still waiting for you to come to Italy and it will happen. Mr. James Amafio, my daddy, is saying, Mr. Jevu, I like that statement. For trusting God, for God trusting you enough to entrust the child who is to come into your hands, of course. He also says, you guys are just wonderful. May God richly bless you all for this insight. Daddy Kando says, in fact, George, you didn't understand the sign language. We need elaboration. Ma'am, Olivia Ofusi says, you guys are wonderful. I'm loving this show. God bless you for more of this. We have Gladys Ejapon says, Mr. Jevu, you do all. Yes, of course, it's been God's grace who has brought us this far. When Mr. Jevu was talking, he mentioned Sinead. I know the names of the babies, but one thing I see is this generation. Our mothers tells us that or our parents most of the time tells us that we give too difficult names and they themselves they cannot pronounce. So I want to know, what is the motivation behind the giving of the names?
Okay.
So the names are
Sinead, yeah. Well, we had a discussion. We've been praying about it because I know the significance and the value of names, you know, and particularly in scripture and the ability of names to influence your future direction as a human being. And even when God comes onto the scene, he changes your name sometimes for a purpose, for an assignment. So we've been praying about it, thinking about it. I think Elsie had an experience in a workplace, meeting one of the child or something, a name, and then she spoke that to me. I said, I need to pray about it. You know, I always use that sense of, you know, you have to do a careful analysis, right? But you have to prayerfully consider. So in terms of my analysis, I did a bit of research. Sinead is a Greek name, right? It literally means God is gracious. God has been gracious enough, you know, to bless Sinead. And then she's got, the middle name is Elora. And Elora is, God is my light. God is my light. So because of the grace of God, wherever she goes, she'll be a light. So that was my intended purpose for her once we had her. So we gave her that name. I think you mentioned something in terms of a generational shift. It's usually a paradigm shift that happens. The older generation, we use their wisdom, we use their experience to help teach us and help us make informed decisions. Over a period of time, because of the conditions of our life, I think 10, 20, 40 years ago, there isn't Facebook, there isn't social media. Now, technology and information and stuff has exploded. I always say that we live in the information, digital and knowledge economy. So if you want to make it, you should be able to understand the times you are in. Like the son of Issachar is very significant. So we thought that giving them this name will signify where we want them to go by virtue of what God has placed in our heart for them as children. You know, so those names signify their relationship to God and the intended purpose for what we want them to achieve, based on what we as parents have recognized and received. And Sean is similar. Sean is God has been gracious, exactly. But I put the word Ethan there because when he was born, he was a bit bigger than she, right? And he when he very rowdy when he came. He was turning and talking, excellent. You could see as a baby, he was all over the place. So I felt that there is a certain level of strength and there's a certain level of firmness and excellence in him. And so when we look into scripture, the only person who was compared as being more wiser than Solomon was more wiser than was Ethan. So his name is Sean Ethan. The grace of God has given us Sean. And by virtue of that grace, he's going to grow in wisdom and he's going to be an excellent child. So that is the meaning behind the names. And we thought it's significant to ascribe the very source of the name to God, because it is God who gave the children to us.
Wow. Mr. Sikeni, the names of your children, what is the first names, what is the motivation behind it?
Thank you. I think my first boy is called Gabriel. The name is simple. It means a man of God. A man of God basically because he's the firstborn and the one that opened the womb. According to the scripture, he is for God, right? He's the Lord's own. So I name him consciously that God, this is your own, it's not mine, it's yours. I told you if you give me a boy, I'll give the boy to you. So based on the promise, and to fulfill the promise, I just gave the boy back to God. So that is why I picked that name. It could have been other names. I think I have a couple of names. I love names, basically. But I picked the Gabriel because it begins with G. Because I wanted my children's name to begin with G. So I picked the Gabriel, which means a man of God. Then I picked the next one, was Glenessa. Glenna is Glenda, which is pure. Nessa, which is miracle. Glenessa, actually, is also a synonym to the Hebrew word Genesis. So the name Glenessa means the beginning of pure miracles. What is very special is that I felt like I was in a miracle zone. It live in a season where everything is working for you. You don't have to work to make it happen. It's when you close your eyes, you didn't fight, you didn't do anything, but the cup is full of water. So I said, thank God, then it have to be a miracle, a pure miracle. Actually, I named her also after my mother, the boy after my father, basically. Then the last one is Gilead. Interesting to say. I really expected a boy, precisely, truly. I really expected a boy. But when the girl came, I was happy, equally happy. But because the name Gilead is a unisex name, I chose to leave the name as it is. And I named her after my great-grandmother. And funny enough, I didn't pray for any of my children, like they should pick the character of the person I named them after. But for this last one, I really prayed that you should pick the character of my great-grandmother. And what is very interesting is that she really is like my great-grandmother, strong as anything. Of course, somebody will say, Josh, why did you pick these names? I believe that when you pray to God and you have a desire, if you don't hear God audibly, He put desires in your heart. Those desires are His dictates, right? So God may not give you a direct word from heaven, but the desires in your heart are the dictates from heaven. So if you like it, in as much as it contradicts scripture, then God likes it. The desires of who they are supposed to be, we have it in our heart. I always tell my wife, actually I call them by their names. I say, this one is going to be this because I saw it. Then I said, this one, my last baby, I call her Avocatessa. She's going to be a lawyer. The one I call her Doctoressa. She loves to study on the things. The one I call her Inventor Gigi. It's because of the things I have seen, so I give the names looking at those things, and I gave to them. I think it's very significant, like Mr. Jevu was saying, that we just pick name out of the blues. We should be sure the names we pick. Seeing the one who gave us the gift, we should know His dictate for them, so that at least we, by His grace, we usher them through that path so they can fulfill purpose laying down for them. Thank you.
Wow, to fulfill purpose. That is why those names were given. We thank God. Mr. Jevu, I remember when I had the section with Elsie talking about her second baby. It seemed that she was expectant because it was not happening when she expected it. And we spoke a bit about what she was going through as at that time and some of the approaches to her, what she had to go through. And I wonder what was going through your mind also as a man, expecting to have the second baby ready, but was not happening. Which happened soon after. But the period when you were expecting for the second one to come, what was going through your mind?
That's an interesting question. We've had that discussion several times, and when we were waiting more or less for the second child and it wasn't coming, I was of the strong conviction, that it was going to happen at some point. It may not be the timing that we want it. It may be at a period and a location within a circumstance. So I always told my wife, it will happen within a certain period, under a particular set of conditions, as designed by God. So if it's not coming now, just relax. Just go through it a bit. It will happen. And sometimes it's difficult because I always wanted to move her mind away from that sort of sense of, will it happen? Other nature, why is it keeping long and stuff like that. Like I said, you talk to her, you more or less explain. And I always want to buy into that level of her intelligence because she's a very intelligent woman, very industrial. So usually I want to move the conversation from the sense of her heart to her head, And the idea is that, psychologically or physiologically, if you are on a certain kind of birth control and you come off it, different body types will respond to it differently. So understand that the mechanism that it works in your body, the interaction of the drug and your hormones may be different compared to someone else. So if it doesn't happen to you per the prescribed period, maybe 2 to 3 years, it doesn't mean it won't happen. It may happen, but not in your own time. So I think that conversation will always push the sense of emotion, why is it not happening, to your head. So why is it not happening connects you to your heart. Because you want to feel and sense that naturally you are off this medication, so it should happen. But then when you push it from your heart to your head, it gives you the peace of mind and the framework. I always say it's a framework, right? When we talk about framework, you are not having a child, you are experiencing any kind of difficulty. The framework allows you to think and look at the bigger picture. It's the time of God. It does not happen as a result of A, B, and C. Have you reconsidered? Maybe don't rob yourself of that expectation right now. They say, it has to happen now. But think of it in terms of God is working through me as a project to accomplish something. So for that, it really, really helps to come in now. And I thought for me, I wasn't worried at all. And there are circumstances that surrounded my own upbringing, my family, family members saying things about you and all that. That will be at the back of your mind, but you still look into the bigger picture. You try to see into the mind of God. What is God saying? And when you have rest assurance in His word, if it doesn't happen now, it doesn't mean it won't happen.
Of course.
May be delayed, but may not be denied. So at the end of the day, I had a very stable hand. I'll say that I had to be able to stable my hand as the husband and the family head, and then bring her to a point where she will control the emotions and let the head think for her, to a point where we push aside the agitation and the anxiety and the need for it to happen now. To say that, okay, it has not happened yet, but we believe as we walk in life and go about our business. And it happened unknowing. And we came to Italy.
Italy again.
And I don't hear it too.
Okay. And it will happen again if you come to Italy.
We'll come to Italy now. That your mommy should come.
Wow, this is what God can do, Mr. Sikeli. You were born on 6th of June. Your first girl was born on 4th of June. Then your last born was also born on the 8th of June.
Wow.
Some keep wondering, did you have a calculator or you're using a calendar? How did that happen?
Of course, we laugh about that. Of course, let me say this. I think I learned it from Mr. Martinson. If he's watching, I salute to say. And then Dickie Solomon. Of course, they are very good at calculation. They determine when the child can be born. But that is just a joke. The truth is that you don't determine it. You only pray that your wife give birth. Just that if they are born in a day closer to yours or maybe the same day, you are just happy. But you don't determine it. I think what we determined was when we give birth. So maybe we have Gabriel and we don't want to give birth subito like now. So we use a mechanism so that we don't give birth now. So we're ready to have one, then we change the mechanism, then we now get ready for baby. Then when we give birth to the second one, we use another mechanism that we don't get pregnant now. So we are ready Of course, now we don't want to have babies because, reason because so that we don't have babies. But you don't determine it. It's God who determines when the children are born.
God determines. So it may seem 2 years intervals, but it was not like you were not doing anything. It was, we did our part by saying, okay, you want them to have 2 years intervals, and then God just made it to happen. But as for the 6th, 4th, and 8th, I don't know anything about it unless we go and ask God. Yeah, and so we are running up on our program for today, but I want to ask, I can't complete it without asking our men, without asking them whether they have had any challenges or what they seem to be as a challenge of being a father, like let me say challenging moments of being a father, being scared of failure or anything. Have you ever had any challenging moments of being a father, Mr. Mensah?
Being a father, like I said in the beginning, you learn on the job. I've read so many books, about 50, 60 books. I've read them. I have done research around them. I think when even Sinead was born, what we didn't do for traumas, when Sinead was born, as a father, what I did was I went into the NHS website and I downloaded a copy of the psychological and physiological development metrics of a child, where at this age or at this month you expect the child to speak. At this age you expect them to be able to internalize pain. At some point, if something is going on, the child can speak, but they shouldn't cry. They should do something else to indicate that they are growing. And I remember we sat down, my wife and I, and then we started marking them. In 6 months, we expect Sinead to be able to do this, do that, do that. Now, some of them she didn't make that, and I wondered in my mind, why? What is the development pattern of Sinead as a baby that didn't merit, those kind of metrics? But those are some of the challenges I, talk about. At this age, I expect you to be able to read, to be able to speak, to be able to conceptualize who you are. But it doesn't always happen like that. It doesn't always happen like that. So my expectation was to feel that let them grow in their own pace. We support them as parents. And I don't think one of the biggest challenges for me as a father has to come with the distinction between a stubborn child and then a child that is acting in ignorance. So mostly, if the child is more or less trying to push her hand in the stove or the fire, or the mom has cooked something and it's quite hot, and she's put the food on the table for us to eat, and because he's a child, she's trying to put her hand, and she's inquisitive, she wants to find out, put her hand in the hot soup. Now, that behavior is as a result of ignorance, and they cut across all their behavior. So your intention as a father is, when do I see that fine line between you are acting this way as a 1-year-old or 2-year-old because of ignorance, or you are acting that way because you are being stubborn? So once I'm able to put that dots together, it's difficult to distinguish. You are able to put in place measures of discipline, measures of, this is how we speak, this is how we talk, and all that. And it's a challenge. Even as we grow up, we begin to recognize that there are certain things that you can do at this point that we expect you to be able to do. That write your name, learn how to write your name, learn how to say hello. When Sinead, what are you doing? Then she'll be able to respond back, hello. But you have to say hello, Daddy, because if I'm downstairs and you call me, there's never a time she calls me and I said, hello, what can I do? I just say, yes, Sinead. I always say yes and add a name to it. So that is, I'm teaching her some amount of respect and manners.
Sure.
But as a child at that point, it's my expectation for her to be able to always represent it that way, no. So that is a challenge for us as a father. And one of the key things is, I've always set sight of my family, my wife and my kids. They are the priority for me. My relationship with my wife, my relationship with my kids. So I have always set forth the agenda where I want to make sure if something happens to me now, we don't always think about it. We are Christians, If something happens to me now, they are going to be taken care of fully. So in terms of my own challenge, it's like if I'm paid a monthly salary, I invest the money for them. So by the time they are 18, the money that I didn't have, should be able to have it, and then you teach them how to manage their finances even when they are kids. And I did the same thing for my wife, because I thought coming from a place where these things were not there for us, from our parents, maybe because they didn't know or didn't have. They didn't know and they didn't have. Mostly, that's the reason. I want my family to be different. So I remember the first thing I did, I was given bonus when I was working, in the bank, and then they gave me a big bonus. I didn't take a penny of it. I could have spent it on me. But I put the money in an investment account for my wife and the 2 kids. And the money is grown. When they become 18, they begin to use it for their own benefit. And I think it's quite significant for us to talk about this, especially as Christian fathers and as Christian families. I could use the money to do so many things, but I thought, let me invest this money in an account for these kids. So by the time they grow, I struggle to achieve financial stability, but they wouldn't, because I've planned and thought into their future. So I think it's a struggle sometimes because you are men. Sometimes you want to buy something, you want to do this and that. You have to sacrifice because of the child, and it's not easy. It's not easy because there are loads of demands on you. Loads of demands.
Yeah. Wow. Mr. Sikeni.
It's incredible. One of the funny truths is when a philosopher says, when you are doing the right thing and you don't know you are doing the right thing, to see others doing the same, then we say, so I'm doing the right thing. I'm happy to hear you talk about that, because I think, for me, I always tell people, nobody wants poverty. I mean, my greatest challenge as a father is how best I can secure my children's future. Sincerely, no parent would like your child has gone to a place where they are supposed to, they're in need of something and you can't provide. I think the Bible says that if a man can provide for his home, he's worse like an infidel. So it's not so much how much you can pray. After you finish praying, you have to pay the bills, right? After you finish praying, you have to put food on the table. So it is a good thing to think. The greatest challenge a parent should have, I think, is to be sure you secure your family. But securing them, especially in the area of their character, not so much of what we tell them to do. That is my greatest challenge. What I do before my children. Because I know that they will hear what I say, but they will definitely do what I do. Right? So I'm not into do this, sit there. No. I want to, instead of saying do it, I will say let's do it. So that if the child is watching me do it, it's easier for them to do it than to say do this, because I think we were raised like that. It's like you have an older parent who will say, go and buy me cigarettes. But I say, but you don't have to drink cigarettes. The child gets confused. The child really gets confused. But the best challenge and the greatest challenge I have is what I do before marriage. I always tell my wife, I said, no, be careful what you do before your children. More like, even if you are funny enough, it's like maybe you want to sneeze and then you want to do the African way without a tissue. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not sin. You won't go to hell for it, right? But if you were able to take a tissue, you just told your child that you don't sneeze without the tissue. So instead of telling them to pick a tissue whenever they are sneezing, no, you pick a tissue, sneeze, it will make them do what you want them to do. It is really, my greatest challenge is what I do before my children. I always say, God, give me the wisdom that I can put before them. Not what I tell them to do per se, I will tell them to do something for sure. But what I do before them, I think that imparts more than whatever I tell them to do. Thank you.
Wow. And so I would ask again, so what would be the most rewarding thing about being a father? What you see about your children that makes you become happy and proud that you are a father?
See, of course, for now, I think when my son was born, like I said, I felt fulfilled. I felt like you believe God for something and then it is true, I really felt fulfilled because he was born. But I think my greatest fulfillment is to see them like the vision I have for them. I call this one inventor, that he'll be an inventor. He'll be creative as I want. The other will be a doctoressa, he'll be like Dr. Yevu, then the last boy will be a lawyer, advocatessa. So that is when I will be fulfilled. I look out to see that. Whenever happens, I always tell people, see, I don't pray to die early. But whatever happens, you look forward to see. Whether in your grave or on the street, you want to see your child achieve what you put before them to achieve. And I think when I look at them there, I'm fulfilled, because not just there, also, of course, don't forget, they are not there as sinners, they are there also as godly children. Because if no matter how gifted and talented and schooled you are, without God, it is like washing your face with urine, So they turn up a good character and they would achieve the thing that I put before. And I think I'll be very fulfilled to see them at that place. Thank you.
Wow, thank you. Mr. Yevu, what are some of the rewarding moments of being a father?
I think I'll say it's a continuum. If I say a continuum, it's like once they exhibit the card and they have a bit of a change, now you're fulfilled. It rewards because you've taught them, you've shown them, and then you've explained you don't do this kind of card, and they begin grow. I think in terms of the practicalities, Sinead trying to mention her name, she was quite young, and she started with mommy. Obviously.
Obviously.
But sincerely, my son began mentioning my name first actually before mentioning yours. It's true.
Daddy, it was Daddy first. I'm very good to today, very good. And I think one of the things was when she started speaking, right? And it was quite unique. And then I sat down with her, and I have a bookshelf. There are so many books. I saw her how many months? I was something like 8 months, yeah. She went into my library, she was looking at my books. We've got the video, we'll show it to her. And we'll tell you when you're supposed to study, because 8 months, now who's here? So, so I think it was quite a rewarding experience, because you always want your child to grow to be responsible, understand who God is, and then her appreciation of who Jesus is. She goes to Sunday school and she begins to express herself. And one of the key rewarding things was she's able to write her name now. And I keep records of that. When she was in reception before, like nursery, before she go to year 1, they do an assessment of the child's development in school. And we read the report. I mean, she has a lot of things to say. She can express herself very well. And I thought it was quite unique. It is up to us as parents to channel that in the right way. And I thought you give that to the child cannot speak. The child starts mentioning that at some point the child recognizes and knows her name, and she begins to pronounce her name. And at some point over time, the child begins to write their name. And at some point, she begins to have an argument with me. That we are watching this TV, we are watching this program, and what they are saying right, what I'm saying is wrong. So we have that argument. And when I sit and reflect, I was telling my wife, when I assess myself as an individual, right, I'm a Christian, I'm a man, I'm a human being, I'm a son. What I realize is that I'm a reflective observer. I sit and reflect and look at the events of life, and I reflect and based on what I begin to do. And I realize that as the children begin to develop themselves in this way, it's a source of great joy and fulfillment for us. From when they can speak, when even they can't walk, to when they start walking, to when they start speaking, to when they start writing their names, to when they start arguing with you, telling you are wrong. So I know they are developing in the way I want them to develop. And they are quite unique and fulfilling parts of our role as fathers.
Yeah. Thank you.
Wow. We want to take some few comments from Facebook. Evelyn Ofosu says that we are strong. We have our sister Doreen watching us. Asantua says the Gene Squad, of course, the Gene Squad. And it's also the same with the MENSAH, because they also have SS. Okay. Judy says, why are the names initials of the same of the fathers? Partiality, partiality.
That's a good one.
Partiality.
Let's see.
Wow. As Antoine is saying, delayance is not a denial. God's timing is the best. Judith says that the judge's calculator, of course. The judge's calculator. She's saying original teacher, of course, maybe the ones who taught you how to have them all at the same month. We have Isaba saying amazing program. Thank you so much, Isaba. We have Judy saying priceless. We thank God for how far He's brought us. And so we will. Okay, we have a comment from from YouTube. This is from my mom. My mom, she's saying God is wonderful to our brother's family. God bless you. God bless you. Wow. All too soon we have come to the end of today's program, and then we will give chance for our guests to tell us or to show their appreciation onto anyone who has been part of their journey. For the MENSAH, it has been 7 years of God's grace and God's goodness. And so there will be people God used to bring them that far. The same for us also. And so I'll give the opportunity for us also to appreciate anybody who has been part of our lives, who has helped us in our journey so far. So the MENSAH, can you tell us An appreciation to anybody who has been part of your journey so far.
I want to, first of all, I just want to thank God. God has brought us thus far, you know. The Bible talks about the fact that a man who forgets where he's coming from soon becomes proud, right? And the pride will give destruction. And it's quite significant to give God praise and honor because He's the center of our relationship and the center of our marriage. And you know, we are busy with the kids, busy with full-time jobs, both of us. But then we still make time to be able to, you know, develop our relationship with each other. And so we thank God. Then I want to thank our counselors, you know, Tando and especially Reverend Elijah. Reverend Elijah was our counselor. We learned quite a lot of things from him. And I, you know, when I was doing my PhD, I had a pastor. It was a British church, Pastor Scott. You know, and he told me a lot of things. I think we met him once. You know, he's white, and he explained and brought my mind to the concept of the language of love. Everyone has got their own language of love, and I thought it was significant to appreciate him as well. And all the fathers, you know, your dad. I remember I was carrying some chairs with him, you know, during those times. You never forget. You know, I have all those things in my diary.
Wow, thank you.
They found me very strong influence. Some of you, yeah, they found me very strong influence, and you know, we had very good discussions. And then I really appreciate that they took me as their own when I came into the family, and I really appreciate that. God bless them all, Pastor Pichi and you know, Pastor Rema, and quite a few of them. You know, we have very good discussions. So God bless you. I mean, your impact and your influence in us will never go to waste. And once you sit back, maybe in times of your retirement, you'll be seeing the blessings that the impact you have made has come into our lives. And it flows from us into our children. So I want to say on this Father's Day, may God bless you, keep you, protect you, and make you see the generations unborn, the impact we made of them. And when God calls you home, all of us will go home at some point. God is a good and faithful servant. Welcome you to the bosom of the Lord. That is the objective. So God bless all fathers, potential fathers, whoever is there caring for a child that is not yours. Know that God recognizes your labor of love.
God will reward you for your labor of life. Mr. Sikeni, your final words.
I think to say thank you, really, I'm not sure where I'll start from. But let me first thank God for the opportunity to be married. God gave me a wife that can make it easier for me to carry the load. You know, like I said from the beginning, if you are carrying the load, it's difficult. So I thank God for giving me one. I'm grateful.
Thank you. I'm grateful too.
And I thank God for the great men. Of course, let me not overlook the Papa, the Bishop Samuel Oscar Mensah. I salute you, Papi. One of the things that I can't forget in getting married was when you choose to sign as a witness for me at the Commune, which was very special for me. I never can forget that. Whenever I watch the pictures at the Commune, I feel happy to see that you were signing for us. I mean, I'm very grateful and I thank God for you. And then your counseling, I'm grateful. Not forgetting that Tano took upon himself to counsel us. It wasn't by the church order, but he said, I want to do the judge personally for you. And I remember where we were sitting, and then he counseled us. We've come this far because we stood on the shoulders of great men. And we're grateful for you. We thank God for you. I mean, from him, let me not take the man that stood in as my father, Pastor Bazua, from Palazzolo. He stood in as my father. I'm so grateful. I mean, without charging me anything. I mean, there are others who say, I'm sending for your father, you need to pay something. But, I mean, he rather gave to me. And he gave to me, actually. Supported the wedding to make it successful. I'm grateful. I thank God for you. As a senior father, and a woman started as my Madam Fosti, also from Palazzolo. I'm grateful. Thank God for all of you. I mean, and many. If I say I want to finish, I won't finish sincerely. I can talk about all the elders in my church. I mean, everyone from the J to the Vosuba, every one of them. But the least, not forget their Matthews. I mean, thank God for an angel like that. It doesn't come that easily on the street. I'm grateful for all of you. And then the help. I mean, we know in UK where it's hard to get people like, no, our children now can give our children to somebody. Go to mother-in-law and say, Mommy, you take the children, then we are going. We are going to have fun. And we are able to do it easier because you are there to help us. And it's a good day to say thank you. The family has come before because you gave us the bone of help. You take the children so that we can sleep sometimes. And that is an honor. We are able to do this, not because we are just gifted or talented. We thank God for the grace of God, but also for the help of men. And I will always be grateful for you, Mama Evelyn. I'm very grateful. I thank God for your life. At least I pray that God keep their Matthews, the Papa Matthew himself, then the Mama Matthew. God should give you long life and good health and strength, so they can always be at the beck and call, so that we can be helpful to us as you've done for the rest of the champions and the rest which are yet to come. I mean, God should keep you alive for them also. We are grateful for you.
We are
Thank
grateful
you.
for everyone. We have lots of mothers in the church and around who has been part of our journey also. I'm not forgetting Ma Cynthia, Ma Olivia, a lot of them. Ma Magitando, Ma Maggie. We have a lot of mothers who they dedicate their time for us. They pray for us. A lot they do for us. So we want to say that we appreciate you. I want to take also this opportunity on behalf of me and LC, Lady LC, to thank our wonderful husbands for what they are doing. We want to say that we appreciate you. As unique as you are, whatever you are doing, continue to do and to do more. We ask for God's strength that He will give to us as we support you, so that the family, the first family or the first ministry that God gave to us, we will be able to meet the purpose for which He gave us. We are so much grateful for our husbands. We are so much grateful also to God. Wonderful family, we thank you so much for being part of the program up to this time. We thank you that always when we are online, you share, you comment, you are part of everything that we do. And so from the Virtuous Women's program, we say we want to appreciate you for all that you do. And so until next time, we say bye-bye to you and God richly bless you.